Well, happy Monday evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is the Shredders United Biz Call. And Crystal couldn't be with me tonight, but she's here in spirit. She's with the children. I got someone really, really special on the call tonight, and that is Bob Sievewright. And Bob and I go way, way, way back. I met Bob. My goodness, Bob, I'm going to let him tell all about yourself. So I'm not really going to give that kind of an introduction, but the introduction that I hope to give tonight was just that Bob and I have kept in touch over the years. He's been one of those people who has always been a confidant of mine. And he and I have just, periodically we connect, and we're in different teams, but we kind of have the same mind. We're of the same mind. And we were trained by the same people in Peter Greenlaw, coincidentally. Bob is married to Allie, and he'll tell you about them. But Bob was so influential early on in when I was figuring out how to bring erShred forward. So I just want to make that known that during that time, the formulative phases. July, August, September, I was talking to Bob all the time, and I was asking him all kinds of questions. I was talking to Jesse all the time, and I was talking to Bob all the time about the business end, and Bob was just great for me. Bob just has he's got a unique ability to see business things as they are, and to just get the best out of them and see the best in them. And, I just really appreciate his insights. He's got a wealth of knowledge and experience. So, Bob Sievewright, are you there?
I'm here.
Thanks. Well, there you two smiling faces are.
That was very, very, very nice of you. Absolutely. I had to have my sidekick here because
that's great.
Yeah, we've been doing this together for about 7.5 years.
Almost 9.
Almost 9 years together?
Yeah.
What year is this? Oh, it's 2021. I keep thinking it's 2020.
Time flies.
Time flies. So no, I think it was just awesome. Sean, I think I met you the first time was Top Achievers that I went with, my first event with Peter Greenlaw. And I remember being by the bar. Of course, we were by the bar, but it was Dr. Harper was there. Your mom and dad were there, but we were talking with Peter. And at that time you were actively building your business, but it was still kind of in the formative stages, if you will. And I was getting to meet you for the first time in Crystal, and it was wonderful. And thankfully, I mean, it's just such an amazing company. This company's impacted me in so many ways, and it's just the friendships that I've developed. And I heard that from Stage years ago, but like attracts like. But what ultimately happens is that if you like this nutritional system that we're all part of, and you like living in an optimal life, it's interesting how we all tend to get attracted to the company for various reasons. And in my case, like many of the people here, it was because I had a health crisis, and I have to be totally honest about it. I don't want to make a big deal, because obviously that sounds like a big deal. I did not have any real medical issues, but I had a bad blood panel. I had high stress. I had my doctor telling me that if I didn't quit the industry I was in, that I would have, possibly a heart attack, and that you had to start seeking out either getting on medication or you quit. Well, they told me to quit my job, and I'm not going to do that. And then the other thing was I started doing a lot of research. I started talking to a lot of my clients. I had a lot of clients that were doctors, so it gave me the opportunity to leverage their knowledge. And it ultimately brought me to Isagenix, and started a conversation with Peter. And
hey, Bob, wait, Bob, let me stop you right there. For people that don't know who you are, first, tell us, who is Bob Sievewright? What's your background? What was your work history? All that good stuff. And
the stuff I don't like talking about. No, it's okay. This is hard for me, honestly. I could never shut up, but this is actually kind of hard. So prior to Isagenix, I basically I left college with a finance degree. First career job was in the financial industry on the real estate side. I'm old enough now so I can talk about the 1986 Reform Act, when they changed the tax laws. And when that happened, it eliminated all the tax shelters. So I was in the tax shelter business and I was licensed, and that pushed me into the financial industry on the stock side on Wall Street. Because, and Allison's telling me to give a financial disclaimer real quick. So if I mention any financial anything related to the Isagenix business, please understand that your results will vary. A lot of it's based upon who you know, your network, your skill set, your knowledge of the industry, et cetera. So don't want to make any claims here. But for me, I mean, my background in many respects, if there's a message I'd like to get across tonight, is it did me a disservice and it hurt me as it relates to this business. And I'll hopefully be able to make that full circle. But I had the opportunity to go with Bear Stearns early on in the 1980s. They were the #1 firm on Wall Street because I knew a lot of wealthy people because of the tax shelter company that I was with. And it was more or less, hey, I'm at Bear Stearns, just wanted to let you know. And if you need anything, I will be happy to refer you to somebody at the other company to support you whenever and whatever you need to get done. I'm not going to abandon you, but I just wanted to let you know I left for Bear Stearns. And oddly enough, the people who I had developed relationships with, and remember that word, relationships, they trusted me, they liked me. And lo and behold, I had some very, very wealthy people immediately just say, well, I want to do business with you at Bear Stearns. Is that okay? And it almost, fell out of my chair. But I was very blessed. I was lucky in that because of those relationships, because right time, right place, I was top of my career almost from the get-go as my rookie year, all the way through. I spent 11 years with Bear Stearns. Finally went to Morgan Stanley, not because I didn't like Bear Stearns, but the industry was evolving. And I didn't like the idea of selling commission where I get paid when you sell, or when we buy, I get paid when you sell. And I thought that was a real conflict of interest. So again, Sean, in terms of we talk about how we think and how we identify opportunities, it was incongruent with how I am as a person. So there was a real issue there. The industry was moving towards fee-based, and I lobbied like crazy to get the company Bear Stearns to go to a fee-based model. I was told by the CEO of the company to go thumb it. I mean, in Wall Street, they're pretty crass with their language, and it's either my way or the highway. A lot of egos. I parted ways with Bear Stearns, joined Morgan Stanley as a senior vice president. Had a wonderful time there, and really, really enjoyed what I was doing. But again, it was culmination of the stress. It was drinking coffee from 4:30, 5 in the morning till 8 or 9 at night, drinking wine because I needed to reduce the stress, whatever it might be with dinner. Not thinking I was eating a healthy meal, but eating out every single night in downtown Chicago, wonderful restaurants, but having salmon and having a vegetable or having a steak, whatever I was eating, I'm eating out. I'm eating restaurant food, and who knows what they put into it. My health obviously became more of a crisis for me. Luckily, it didn't become anything major. But I literally, and this is from a faith standpoint, I'm not really a religious person, but when I look at John Anderson and how this company was created or how the people here have been brought together, I have to believe it's been divinely inspired. I really, truly believe that this was destined in some sort of way, because truly I was praying for an opportunity to turn my health around. Found Isagenix, and oddly enough, it happened at probably the bottom. I mean, life for my first 40 years, Sean, was easy. I mean, everything was a piece of cake. I lived a dream life. I thought I had it all. And then fortunately, you live by your title, who you are, who you know, how much money you have, all the stuff you have. It was very materialistic, but I was empty inside. So I've shared this a lot with Allison, but I think what happens in life is that if you're not in total alignment with your belief system, or you can really identify with who you are and what your passion is, you eventually are going to fall off the tracks. And sometimes when it happens, it's not pretty. So in my case, I went through a 3.5-year financial divorce. It was all a custody battle. It was all finance related. And then the unfortunate thing is, I don't think I've ever said this to anybody, but a lot of people look at somebody and say, oh, Sean, you've got it all, or Bob, you've got it all, or man, you've got that background, and man, if I had this, I had that, I would too be successful. I don't care who you are, but I think there's a certain time in your lifetime when you're going to get really knocked upside the head with a baseball bat. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it can be really ugly. Thankfully for me, it was not a health crisis, but it was a financial crisis for me. You see, I thought that when my divorce was resolved, I had enough money where I was done. I was going to be a money manager, manage my own funds, do whatever I wanted to. And as a result of, well, that was my game plan, but that's not what God intended, or that's what wasn't destined for me. The attorney who represented my ex-wife embezzled or stole $10 million, which part of that was my settlement. So I ended up, there was nothing. So the idea is I went from having financially set and everything, I mean, I had no worries money-wise, to all of a sudden realizing there's nothing. And my attorney said, that's okay, we're just gonna go back to court, start it all over again. And I was thinking of my daughter. My daughter's now 24. That was impacting her. I didn't want her to be moved from her household. So I made a decision, and I pretty much said, that's it. I'm done with this stuff. I'm filing chapter 7. I'm just going bankrupt. I'm gonna go bankrupt. I'm dusting my hands of it. I called up my future ex-wife at the time, but my ex-wife, and said, here's the deal. I'm done. I'm not taking you back to court, but all the money that you would have paid me, you put aside for our daughter and let me get back on my feet again. And I had a very big ego. I thought with my resume, I'd literally find any job I wanted to. Well, I had left the financial industry. And when you leave the financial industry, it's really hard to go outside of your industry because everybody wants to know what are your clients, what's your client base, book of clients, et cetera. So here is Isagenix.
Hey, pause. Wait, Bob, right there. Bob, you don't mind if I interrupt you?
I'm sorry, please do. I
What I
want
want you to do now, because this is all about the erShred community, you know, not only the knowledge that you have to impart, but just all of us getting to know you. I just learned something about you that I didn't even know, and I've known you.
I haven't shared it, but I just only reason why I wanted to say that is that what that event in my life allowed me to do is that, you know, I know you've been very open about the crisis you've had. And the only way you're going to get through that is literally a lot of soul searching, a lot of reflection, a tremendous amount of personal development, which I did do. And then ultimately, it was really trying to get with your why and your passion and what it's all about. My prayer, and I think I said that on one of the lives that I've done, but honestly, it was the most hilarious thing. So Peter introduces me to Isagenix.
Wait, pause, Bob. Pause.
What?
Before you talk about your intro to Isagenix,
Okay.
I on a personal level, real quick, before we run with all that, tell me about, would it be appropriate, because I want them to know who is Allie and how did this picture come together, and then move into.
I come later.
Okay, she
I'm
comes
later in the
so she's
story.
later in the
Are
story.
you sure? Okay.
Total.
All
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
wow, years
honey,
away, about
years
another
later.
decade later.
It's a-
Allie's right there. Allie, just tell us, what is your background and where do you come from? All that kind of stuff.
What is my background?
Yeah.
So I've been a holistic wellness practitioner and really heart-led entrepreneur for the last 21 years that I've been in business. And, you know, I really started, I was doing the typical trade time for money, you know, running a business with 2 little ones, and doing energy healing and facials and, you know, all that good stuff. But really, it just burnt me out. It was, if I wanted to make more money, I had to see more clients, and there's only so many hours in the day. I had a full book and I was super busy and we were making a lot of money, but I had somebody else raising my kids and I had to, you know, go back to work when my babies were 7 weeks old and make all those hard choices that moms have to make. And just really the kind of the rat race of trying to provide for my family and it just never being enough and having this quality of life that was not ideal. The business that I had created was not supporting the life that I wanted. And so eventually I burnt out. I was completely adrenally fatigued. I did have a health crisis. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune syndrome, and we'll just do the health disclaimer here, just in that everything that we say here, that we're not treating, preventing, diagnosing any disease. And, you know, of course, speak to your doctor if you need to. But with that, I did have an autoimmune syndrome that essentially kept me in bed. We'll just say kept me in bed, disabled for 3 years. We Had to hire somebody to live in our house to literally raise my kids. I could not function. I could not work. And when that happened, my income went from doing really great to zero literally overnight because I couldn't physically work. And then I spent the next few years getting my health back. I was introduced to Isagenix by my physical therapist. It turned my world around. It turned my life around. It gave me my health back. It got me out of bed. It got me engaged in life. But then it also opened up this whole world of residual income to me and the power of what residual income can do for you in your life, which has completely changed the blueprint of our life. And Bob was like my main mentor when I came into the business. So we started off, of course, as friends. And he was my mentor, and we just took off and ran. And then eventually, you know, years later, we fell in love and got married. But that's kind of where I fit into the
Okay.
picture.
All right. Okay. So let's,
We were married in 2018, but I came into Isagenix in 2012.
okay. That's good. That helps me too. Because I didn't.
Nice. See. So no, but my prayer was this. I had two prayers here. That's kind of scary. I got to wish what I pray for.
Oh yeah.
I prayed, and you could say you're manifesting, you're talking to your higher source, you're asking the universe, whatever your beliefs are.
Yeah.
But when I had my crisis, man, I actually changed religions. I became Catholic because I wanted to learn about the Christian church. I did a lot of things, but one of my prayers simply was that, please, dear Lord, please allow me to use my God-given talents so that I may give back to my community in the process, make a difference, a positive contribution, and in the process, you know, support my daughter and myself. I mean, more or less, I wanted to give back to my community, and I wanted to find a way that I could support myself and be there for my daughter. And that was my biggest issue, was how am I going to figure out to spend the most time with my daughter? Isagenix was introduced to me because of my background, and it was extensive, obviously. I have a really good background on analyzing companies, and I've seen them all, good, bad, ugly, what went well, what didn't work, etc. The unfortunate part of it is that you typically, at my level, when I had a client say, would you analyze a opportunity for me, or my kid, my son, my uncle, my niece, somebody who's looking at a network marketing company, what do you think of this? They would start bringing me these crazy models, and I'd look at them. I'm like, what the heck is this? I mean, huge upfront money just to get in, descending pay scale, breakaways, you know, you name it, all these things that we talk about. And I thought, how could this possibly be fair? Because it's the little people who make this business work, but there's very, very few people at the top that have any opportunity to make money. That's different with this company, but that mindset really kept me from really honoring and looking at this as a real opportunity. Even when I met you, it was part of it was pride and ego. I didn't want to be seen doing one of these things. I wanted to be there. I loved the environment. I loved the community, loved the results, but I was always kind of like arm's length. As it went on, as I did personal development and got more involved, which I'm saying I had to fix this up here. In the process, I saw Peter go from nothing to success. I saw obviously what happened with your mom and dad right away. I saw what you and Crystal were doing, and a lot of leaders. And I thought, wow, seems like anybody who's passionate and has the mindset to help others, that they too they will succeed with this model. And in 2009, when I left a consulting position with another company, Peter said, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. And he said, why don't you give this a shot? You got your big toe in the water. You're not really playing even 10% out. Why don't you do this for 6 months and see what happens? And that's when my world changed. People came into my life. I recognized it right away. And I thought, wow, I either go start out from scratch, and it takes you 2-3 years to build up anything significant to where you're making good money, or do I stay with this and just keep adding to it? And thankfully I chose Isagenix. But looking back on it, even the years that I did it part-time, it allowed me to spend all the time with my daughter, which you can never, ever get those years back with your kids. And it was that time flexibility that I had that I'm very, very excited about. And anyway, the thing is that my next prayer was simply that I wanted to basically see if I could find my second wife maybe someday, or maybe it's just not going to be me, and maybe I could find somebody. So I wrote out this is personal development 101. Write out what you want. So I had like the 10 things, wrote them all out. And part of it was I wanted someone who was spiritual, who was more grounded here. I had taken up yoga, and I really was understanding the yin and the yang and the masculine and the feminine and all of that stuff. And I wanted someone who was more spiritual based, who was intuitive, who would keep me grounded and keep me not so much materialistic, not so A+, in terms of my personality, but be more in the middle. As we learned, you don't want to be the CEO, you don't want to be the accountant, you don't want to be the promoter or the nurturer, but you want to be a little bit of everyone, right? So that was my prayer, is to find somebody in my life that would be spiritual, would keep me grounded, that loved me for who I am, not materialistic, not chasing the money, so on and whatever. And Allison shows up in my life. And it happened at a time with the guys out there. This is a funny story. I'm a huge golfer and golf fan. And she calls me on Sunday of the Masters tournament in 2012. And Tiger Woods was actually, back 9, was in it. He was like maybe a stroke 2 behind. I forgot who won that year, but she called me up, and I never would have taken a phone call during the Masters tournament. And something spoke to me to just answer the damn phone. And she was totally like, "Hi, this is Allison Harris."
Don't make me hell on wheels.
I'm not going to make you hell on wheels, but you were pretty bold. You just pretty much said, "This is it. If you can't explain to me how this damn business works, I'm out."
No, what happened was I was so excited about my results. I was on fire. I mean, everybody wanted to know what I was doing. I went from living in bed and not functioning to like my life was back. I had more energy than I ever had in my life. I didn't have discomfort all throughout my body every minute of every day. Like, everyone wanted to know what I was, and I've always been an entrepreneur, and I've always had that type of mind. And for me, sales, and I'm now as a spiritual business coach, I have a whole program about this, but for me, like we talk about a lot, and Sean talks about a lot, sales has never been about manipulation and greed and slam them into something that they don't want. To me, authentic sales have always been about serving. So somebody's coming to me, they have a problem, I have a solution. It's my responsibility to serve, right? And so I always saw it in that way. And I was so grateful that my life had been given back to me, that I wanted to pay it forward, but I also wanted to understand the numbers. I didn't understand how any of it worked or fit together. And I couldn't get anybody on my team to explain it to me. So he was kind of my last ditch effort of, can you just show me how to do this? And that's why, we want to make this simple. We don't need to get into all the ins and the outs, but we want to make it just really simple so that it's easy for anybody to just get started that is excited about paying it forward. And so when I called him, I was at my wit's end, because I was like, I know there's something here, but I just want to understand it. And he was the only person who knew what was going on. And so from that point on, things just exploded. We just ran. We were each growing our own business centers, obviously. And now our business centers are combined, of course, because we're married. But that's kind of, and we've just always led our team to really lead authentically and to be in service. And the money comes as a result of your willingness to do that and to open your mouth and share.
Okay, so let's talk about your success. Like, what kind of success are we talking about in Isagenix, did you guys realize?
What kind of success?
For me, I had a foundation. Now, I had been doing it for 5 years, and I was probably, when I went full-time, I was already a 2-star. So I was 25,000 a year, something like that, 2,000 a month, something in that area. 2-star would be more like 5K a month. So I wasn't quite there yet. No, but what happened though is that it only took me 6 months of a focused effort with a foundation, with a base like that, for me to grow it to 36, 37 cycles. And I was able to keep it there pretty much consistently until 2016. We had a little bump in the road, and it was a combination. I was at that time living with Allison. We had taken our focus off the business, and she had another health crisis. She had like 4 or 5 surgeries that she had to go to over a course of a couple of years. And it all stemmed with getting a hernia.
It doesn't even matter. What I want to say about that, though, is that because of Isagenix, because we had built that residual income, we lived off of that income. We got paid every Monday, whether he was in the hospital with me or he was at home, like changing the filters or whatever I had going on. Like, he was literally nursemaid for probably 3 straight years. So we worked the business as best as we could, but because we had built this residual income, we continue to get paid on work that we had already done. And that, getting the full body chills here, that is where the magic is. And that is what people don't understand with the power of this, is that you can't anticipate when you're going to need that. You can't anticipate, right?
No. Well, to give you credit, so you were by far I'm not going to say my best student, but she was my all-star. And she was so good. I identified right away the qualities that she had. And when Peter was at Peter Greenlaw, who everyone knows pretty much, but anyway, Peter was my person who brought me in, the science guy. Peter's so adamant, it's got to be science, 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 science. You're going to do it this way. And I recognized Allison coming from a heart-centered servant mindset. And I go, that's going to be like oil and water. And Peter was asking me, hey, I want to meet Allison. I didn't introduce her to Peter for 1.5 years. I said, I'm not going to even let you talk to her because you're not going to pollute her mind. And she went to work, and literally it went very, very fast. She was #1 in the pools when they first introduced them. She was on stage. She became a 3-star. And you were
things
flying.
Moved fast.
It moved really quick.
Really fast. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it in the beginning is taking advantage of the bonus money and the executive pools and all that good stuff. And just, running. But you get to executive by blessing more people and running with them and sharing the vision with as many people as you can. And, I didn't have any of the hangups that Bob had about network marketing. So I didn't have the perspective that there are other companies, in the industry that do it in a crappy way. I just kept my focus on my result and getting other people result, right? And so I was able to create, just about a 6-figure income in the first year and a half. The first 1.5 years or so.
But it was that foundation with the two of us. And then when we moved in together in 2016, we had to double Isagenix incomes. And honestly, that's what did carry us,
it carried us for years because, you just, that's obviously an example of, me being sick, but also like my parents had health issues when my kids have, been in the hospital or a sick day or whatever it may be. It's just that freedom and flexibility when you're building that residual income where you can work from anywhere in the world. I mean, we in a non-COVID world are traveling all the time. We travel as much as we can. We love traveling and we don't have to miss a paycheck, right? We can work from anywhere in the world. And we meet people from all over the world for our business even. But that is really truly where the magic is, because I could pick my kids up from school every day if I wanted to. I didn't have to miss anything. Bob didn't have to miss any moments with his daughter when he was dealing with the divorce and all that. And that is really where it's at. The bonuses are great up front. They carry you through, until that residual kicks in. But that is where the gold is. And I don't know, I'm just grateful every single day.
Well, but it came together for the right reasons. And it's the same thing, Sean, we've always stayed in touch through the years, and I'm got to give lots of props to your mom though, because Randy's like, I think of her as like Mother Nature. I mean, she's the queen and she sets the tone. And it's her empathetic heart, and she is better at it than anybody I've ever seen. She's so gracious and so wonderful and makes you feel so good when you're around her. I have always going like, man, I want to be part of this. I want to be part of this. And it was just a wonderful situation. And I saw how you operated and how you and Crystal were. And I've always thought I somehow, some way got to figure out how I can work this with Sean, because I love his energy and I like his mindset. I know, I've always been in alignment with you. And I think that the company, like any company, when it goes through its evolution, it's going to go through its cycles. It's going to go through its stages. And you're going to have that period where everything goes right. And then they're going to get hit with a couple curveballs that they weren't anticipating. Management changes. There's going to be it happens to every corporation out there. It doesn't matter if you're Microsoft, Apple, you name it. They all have a very similar history. The key is, though, isn't necessarily be with a startup, because there's easy money to be made with a startup. But the key is you want to be with a company that has a solid foundation, that goes through a successful restructuring, that sees the next level. And I think you and I were grasping for that. Where is it going to happen with this company? What is the product line? We have to get back to basics. And I think what happened with us, myself personally, is we got so far removed of being that heart-centered individual, caring about others and focusing on their results, that we got too caught up in the business of the business, and kind of the warmth left us, some of the being genuine, and at least it did with me. And we recognized, hey, we got to go back to basics the way it was in the beginning, when we had a 9-day, when we focused on a short-term result. We didn't talk about a 30-day system. We didn't overwhelm people. We didn't, basically pile on so many products that their head was spinning from day one. But we got to figure out how to simplify this. And I think that's, Sean, when you and I were starting to talk. And then we would go through, I remember speaking to you last winter. I remember speaking to you in the spring. You kind of disappeared on me for 2 months, and I don't know where you went, but we were all dealing, with the pandemic. And then about August, you popped back up again, and we started having some serious conversations. And the crazy thing is, it's so true. You're coming up with this idea, and I'm thinking, wow, this is a little bit out there. Red meat? Are you kidding me? And you got to understand that a year prior, I decided to follow a lot of people in Isagenix and do another gentleman's program that he told me, you can't cleanse, but we're going to count macros, and I'm going to get you chiseled. And I said, all I want to do is get cut. I got plenty of muscle. Well, he goes, we're going to put more muscle on you. I got beefed up to 225, which is really where I was at when I was playing Division III ball. And, but I had the gut, and I said, okay, it's time to get cut. Well, you got to stay with me another 6 months. I'll get you cut. Well, that next 6 months, I only lost a pound. I went from 223 to 222. Then when I went to the doctor, my blood panel was totally 1000% upside down. Dr. Ruggiero, thank goodness, looked at everything. And I sent it to Dr. Messina as well. Got his opinion. You got to go vegan right now. Bam. You got to get off everything. And they scared me to death. But it scared me to life, maybe. But I recognized that I had to do something. So when Sean came to me with this crazy idea of you're going to eat red meat, I was like, whoa, time out. I don't know if I can do that, because I just finally got my body back in balance, and I've got good reports now with the doctor. I don't know if I can do something crazy like that. But you had already done your homework, and you had sent me a documentary. I can't remember what it was called, but it was literally off of YouTube. But it was talking about eating meat and the science and so on. And from that, I was able to find the 3 books that they kept referencing, which was The Big Fat Surprise, Cholesterol, Saturated Fat Doesn't Cause Cholesterol or Heart Disease. And then the third book,
Fiction,
Fat Fiction is the, that's documentary. And this is the, what are you doing?
I'm just taking it.
Okay, I can't see what's going on.
Sorry.
This is the third book. This is the carnivore code, which I said I would read. I'm about halfway through it. But that's how my mind works. So I don't know if Sean knew that, but anything you send me science related, I'm always reading it. I'm like Peter's researcher, because I always read these things and I forward it to him. I said, Pete, I go, Peter, you got to read this book, or here's a big fat surprise. You got to read it. Give me the Cliff Notes. No, you're going to read it, damn it. But I need that kind of
Mine.
validation for my own mind. And because I've messed myself up just blatantly being blind and following others. But what I have to say is that I always believed in you. I believed in what you were saying. Thankfully, your mom and dad were brave enough to say, we'll go first. And I was watching them. And then I literally said, okay, they finished. I heard the results. I was on the call with you. I called up your mom and dad. And I had to talk to both Tony and Randy just to find out.
What if in case anybody,
I need to interject a story about Randy, though.
real quick, in case anybody's wondering, what I just heard was I trusted you, Sean, but then I waited and read a million books, and then I watched your parents' results, all because I don't really trust you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Our biggest skeptic.
you're sure.
I'm the biggest skeptic in the world. I mean, I'm a hardcore skeptic.
Go ahead there. Go ahead, Allie.
Okay, so at my first Isagenix University, so in 2012, literally in Arizona, about 5 minutes before I left for the airport, no, maybe 20 minutes before I left for the airport, I met you and Randy in like the corner bakery or whatever. And I had this connection with Randy, and Bob had been talking about the Escobars for months and months and months, for like the 6 months. I'd been in it for 6 months. And Randy would come to me in my dreams during that first year of my build. And she would say to me, I'd say, Randy, where are the oranges? I want the oranges too. And she'd open the refrigerator and say, they're right there. They're right there in the refrigerator for you. And she was like this energy, this light, she didn't even know it, pushing me that whole, and I'm getting emotional about it because I'm just so grateful to you guys. You just don't know how much you've impacted people, like in such, not even just a direct way, but an indirect way with your leadership in this company. And just thinking about, I will never like forget that, because I always thought of her as just like this kind of this angel on my shoulder, just from that meeting and from everything Bob had shared with me and just everything that you guys represent. So we're just so grateful to you guys and so excited to be, you know, with you on this journey and this new chapter.
Well,
And I know
the good news is, Sean, I did it. I listened to your mom and dad. I listened to you, listened to Jesse, had amazing results. And just like you told me, and I remember you getting so mad at me one time, say, damn it, can't you just show me some love? Can't you just trust me and do this? You know, but that was like in September. What worked well for me is that I didn't recognize, I mean, you have no idea how good you can feel until you can look backwards and understand how bad you felt. I thought I felt good in September and October. The reality is that
you're talking about just this last year. Pre-erShred, like a month before erShred. Because of the pandemic, I cleansed every weekend in June. I cleansed 2 weekends in July. I cleansed in August. I cleansed in September. I did a cleanse in October with our team just before Randy and your dad finished with the first erShred that they did. And so when I took that picture on the 23rd, I said, okay, let's see what this does. What I didn't recognize was the mental aspect. And that is, I truly believe that I had the mental fog. I was forgetful. I mean, my wife knows this about me, and I'll tell you something else you don't know. Hopefully I call you by your name, but if I have a nickname for you, it just means that I met you, came up with a nickname, and never could remember your name. So I come up with, it's a cover, but it's how I would come up with a nickname, you know, and it's kind of like, hey, that sticks. Okay, I'm going to call you from now on. But it was the mind. I played football. I had plenty of concussions. I started to worry, like, wow, how many times have I hit my head? I had a concussion even when Peter was in town hitting my head. I was crazy. Anyway, another story. But
My point is that I started really worrying about my mental health, that maybe I do have dementia, or maybe this is getting older. And I couldn't remember movies, restaurants, couldn't remember names. I go, you know who I'm talking about. Come on, sweetie, you know who I'm talking about. And she'd say, so-and-so. And I go, oh yeah, that's it. But my mind woke up. And when
even just your mood too, like certain things that would normally like really maybe upset you, you're like,
that's the beauty. So you mentioned it in your live the other day.
Who's that?
I've turned the TV on, watching the news maybe 4 times in the last 3 months. I was a news junkie. Once you're a broker, you're always a broker. CNBC, stock market, up in the morning. That's going on in the background all day long, because that's kind of my lullaby music. It keeps me moving. I mean, it keeps me going. But I'm always connected and never could divorce myself from that. But I'd always get caught up in the news, because obviously whatever's going on in the moment. And with all the damn craziness that went on in the last 3 months, I probably would have been coming out of my skin, maybe who knows would have gone. But I used to get so worked up about that stuff. And the beauty of erShred, I was having so much fun with this and so focused, but waking up at 5 in the morning, coming down here, having my coffee, my bulletproof coffee, right? My morning deliciousness, man, I look forward to that. But that, my mind, as soon as that butter gets in my brain, it's like, whew, and you wake up and you're ready to go. I ruined Allison's mornings. She used to beat me out of bed, and she used to come down here for her quiet solitude and meditate and have her own moment, whatever. We still do, but it's different. But now I'm up, literally, I don't want to wake her up. So I'm up at 5:15 in the morning, and I'm down here.
The only problem is that the coffee only stays warm for 2 hours. So it's like, by the time I get down, I've got about maybe 30 minutes. And then for the second cup, the thing goes off because he's up so early. But anyways.
But I've never been this excited, even in the very beginning with Isagenix, about anything in my life. And part of that, and I mentioned this the other day, is having a belief system, not only being able to believe in yourself, but being able to believe in your purpose and believing in what's possible. And honestly, I look at your mom and dad, I look at you, Sean and Crystal, I look at Peter Greenlaw. I mean, you're like Roger Bannister, who ran the 4-minute mile. I mean, you already did it. And the thing is that we know this model works. The only thing that we need is a little focus, a little passion, and basically someone to keep us on the tracks, to stay going down the right path without getting distracted or someone yelling squirrel. And with the erShred, we have that. So when people ask me, do you think this is the best business opportunity you've ever seen? I'm like, are you kidding me? I keep reminding Peter, you've landed the best, because he's always asking me, what do you think is the best business? I'm like, well, this is it. Because I've never seen anything in my lifetime. This company did everything right in terms of the business model. And what I mean by that is that there's no glass ceilings for anybody. Everybody has the same opportunity. There are no pay levels in terms of product. I mean, we all pay the same price for the product. And at the same time, we get paid the same for the people who we refer into. It's just that if you talk to more people and you have a larger army behind you, you're going to get more money than the person who doesn't share it. But really, it's an inspiration. So I always felt that I wanted to be inspired. You've inspired me. I think I'm okay inspiring others. Now it's time for me to put my big boy pants on and go to work. But I can see this happening, not just something where I'm giving you a 3-year plan or a 5-year business plan in terms of success. I know, just like your dad undressed me the other day on the call, he called me up and he pretty much said, all right, now I'm going to tell you something. What in God's earth's going on? You're not a platinum yet. Why aren't you a platinum? I don't understand why you're not a platinum, Bob. What? Tell me why. And then he went on to say, well, the only reason I can think of is that you probably aren't just out there working. You're not doing enough. You're not talking to enough people. You're not doing, and he started telling the basics, literally tells me the story, and then says, I believe in you. I know what to do. You talk to 10 people a day for the next 6 months. Come July, you're going to be a platinum. Mark my words. I know you can do it, but you have to want it. Do you understand me? Yes, sir. Got it. I got it. No. Do you really understand what I'm saying? You can do this, but you have to want it. You have to believe. And he said, there's no reason why you shouldn't be a platinum. You should have been this already. And so I was laughing. He goes, now, I just told you a parable. I told you a story. What did I do to you? I'm like, you woke me up. He goes, no. He said, you're going to do that for other people. what did I do? I told you the truth. And he said, I told you the truth. And then I basically built belief and told you you can do it. Now go and do it. Now there's not a thing in the world I can teach you. You already have it inside you. You're working with Sean and Crystal. We couldn't be more proud with what they're doing. You've got a system that works better than anything we ever had to work with. And you've got all the technology, the internet, et cetera, working with you. He said, you know, Randy and I, we got to millionaire status in the first year and a half, like 13 months, whatever it was. He said, if we can do it, he said, I don't know what would hold you guys back, you know, with everything that you have in your lap. And anyway, I say that in jest, but I really do respect your mom and dad because they've done it and they have a wealth of experience and they've shared that with you. And I don't want to embarrass you, Sean, but I've said this to you many, many times, especially when you've called me up when you're angry about something. Just got to get this off my chest. I'm thinking, oh God, he's pissed off at me. And it's always, thankfully, knock on wood, it's about somebody else. But, you know, one of these times he's probably going to be telling me, but you get angry at times and I'm like talking to you and I remind you who you are. And I said, look, you are the best of your mom and dad. You've got your dad, you've got the logical mind, you've got the science, you've got the way to analyze, and then you've got the empathy and the heart that your mom has. I go, you got the best of both of them. And I said, dude, you are a rock star because of that. Don't forget it. And that's why I'm excited to be partnered with you. And you found Jesse, who's like-minded. And then when I look at this team as it's developing, we're bringing in the right people at the right time. And look at this, guys. I just laughed. We had another leader join erShred today, and they're coming in, even though they kind of are trying to come in quietly underneath the radar. Luckily, I get to approve people as they come in. I see the names. I'm like, yeah, you sure you want to be on erShred? You know, let them in. But of course, we're going to welcome everybody. But that's what's so great about what we're doing. So if you create it, if you create the environment, if you create the energy, if you create the mission, the dream, you vision cast, people start believing again. Look what's happened in just 3 short months. And what's happening now, we're attracting leaders coming in because they want it too. And that's why I'm excited. I know we've got something special and this is it. And I'm just grateful to be here tonight.
Bob, thank you so much, Bob. Thank you so much, Allie. We're not quite done here yet, but I wanted to read this beautiful comment from my mom.
Oh God.
Oh man, she's written a lot of, you guys are really touching mom tonight. She's writing a lot.
I was trying to copy and paste into a doc so that we don't lose that, so we can go back and watch it.
Oh, you know what I can do? I think I can actually click save the chat before we get rid of it.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's see here.
I got you.
Well, she says, Bob and Allie, you guys have such amazing bios and have had so much training and success in businesses. It is wonderful that you have stayed so authentic and real, and that you can touch and enrich so many people, so many lives with your life stories and your love for Isagenix products and also the business model. You have no idea how many people you are now touching and enlightening with your presentation, and how many people's lives you will change by sharing erShred forward. You guys are on fire. You complement each other so much. I love it.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Appreciate
Really.
that.
that's beautiful. I've noticed, you guys, one of the cool things about erShred is, and I'm just going to say this, and then I'm going to let you guys share what you might want to share beyond, you know, my little, I guess I'm just going to cast a little vision, but I've noticed I've got people that I work with who are starting to do amazing things. And these are people who, you know, for a long time, they've just been sleeping giants, and they've just been sleeping. And at one point in time, maybe they had wild success. And at one point in time, they were really in their zone, right? And then life gets in the way and stuff gets in the way. And, you know, everything just gets all congested, if you will. And it feels as though erShred creates the space where all of a sudden there's space there. And now they find that space and they're able to get back to doing amazing things. And I have seen people working miracles in the business model now, and it's born of results. It's the business is born of results. What do you have to say about that kind of a tone, Bob?
You mean you said it perfectly, and I think the lives that I've been doing recently. I mean, I think a lot of people want to understand what the how-tos are. I mean, the how-tos are easy. We have them in the back office. We can show you here are the numbers. But really, what you and I are about, and what we're talking about, is what's required in order
energy.
for you to have that energy to raise your vibration. Part of it's the products. We know it's going to happen. It's an absolute. We're going to raise your vibration. You're going to feel better. Your mindset shifts, your energy shifts. But more than that, it's the belief system. It's your mindset. And it's also understanding how to be relatable to other people, how you connect. It's the art of connection. And that's really what we're all about. I think in terms of training on the business side, if we can give you tips, it's going to be maybe the subtle things that we do in conversation to draw people in, open up, or to be able to become relatable so that you have the opportunity to share your story. I mean, that's the magic. And I always reference it's lightning. I came up with this back in when I was a money manager, but when you had a stock that grows tenfold or 1,000%, I would call that catching lightning in a bottle. It's magic. When it happens, you never let it go. And I always used to use that. Now it's kind of been cut down to it's magic in a bottle. But the peanut butter and jelly comment, how that came about is you came to me with, you don't understand. I've been in Isagenix for 17 and a half years. It was the elimination diet that did it. Now I had my experience, and I'm on the other side adamantly saying, no, you don't understand. I was an Isagenix, but when I did it combined with the elimination diet, then I had my experience. So I always say it's peanut butter and jelly. They work better together. So I also believe that with our system, that if we conduct ourselves properly, we become a product of the product and we share it with others, and it's impossible not to. The thing is just direct them to our community. Our community, the energy in this community will excite anybody. And the key is follow up, make sure you're there to support them. But really what we're there for is to cheerlead them. I've never seen a better opportunity to plug and play in my life, especially in this business, because you guys are so giving. The health professionals that we have, the people that are willing to share their time in directing, guiding, answering questions, we're giving everybody the opportunity to have a good relationship with erShred, good outcome, good results, etc. But that's really the magic. And I'm confident that if we can work with our team and we can build the vision, the dream, and we can build the belief in them, instill in them the belief that they too can do it, the sky's the limit. I mean, guys, this is what's so cool about this business model. If you think you've maxed it out as a leader, what the company's always done is they've said, okay, well, we're going to add to it so they can go back to work again. They're never going to slow you down as long as there's no cap to it. So the opportunity is endless. You can't say that about any other industry. The time freedom and what it allows you from living an optimal life and being there with your family and having that flexibility, being your own boss, all of those assets, all of those qualities, that's available with this system and getting healthy. I mean, this is the most puzzling thing. And I'm sure, Sean, you've had more conversations than I've had. But it literally, the doctors that you talk to, some of them, they'll fall out of their chair if you tell them what you're doing. And they're looking at what's going on. What happened to you? This looks great. Man, just keep doing what you're doing. Fire it up. Get to have steak and butter. Hey, time out. What are you doing? But no, in all seriousness, I think that we are trailblazers, grassroots trailblazers, in that we have found something that works so well, we can't keep it quiet. But in the process, we're going to change conventional wisdom in the mindset that says this is the way it has to be. And what I've recognized is the way of what I was told how to eat or what you have to do didn't necessarily work for me. And the other thing I would add is what you created with the erShred. You've always talked about empowerment from the very beginning. We didn't get that with our other program because we tell people to have carbs during the week. Monday through Friday, eat carbs. You're going to detox on the weekends. Well, you're never going to break that addiction. You're never going to break that habit. And when you say we give you the control, there's nothing more powerful in the world to be able to empower others. Everyone's used to being told what to do, or it's restrictive, or it's militant from this is the way it has to be. You report to work. This is what you do. This is when you go home. This is when you have vacation. We've taken it to the next level where you're literally saying, what do I eat? You're in control. You get to decide, not me. That's the beauty. And that is so magical and so empowering of a message. I get goosebumps talking about it every time when I think about we have hit everything properly. We're empowering the people. We're giving them the control. We're building, instilling belief in them. We're giving them the opportunity to have to be woke up, to have their mind like yours. And I can't explain it. Just was laughing the other day. Our Peter Greenlaw's son, Colin, is in the middle of his first erShred. He struggled the first 4 days. He called me up on day 5 and I saved that message. I sent it to you, Sean, that voice message that he sent me in the morning. It's like Colin lives in Costa Rica and is a surfer coming out of his skin, but she was laughing because she goes, oh my God, he talks to you like he's a surfer dude. I go, he's the epitome of surfer dude.
I love
him so much.
But he was so excited. And he basically is like, oh my God, Uncle Bobby, dude, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? I've never felt this good. I'm telling you one thing, I'm taking this erShred to the world. And the funny thing is that until he experienced it, it didn't matter what I told him. He was going to do it this way. I'm not doing that erShred stuff. I said, you don't have to. That's okay. Anyway, I'm thrilled at the transformations that people are having, not just physically, but mentally. That, as you said, that wakes them up and it literally elevates them to be a better person, to be more successful, or a better father, or a better husband. I mean, it truly is miraculous.
Beautiful. I love all the good vibes. I love the energy you guys have going on is just it's real, and I can sense it. It's like tangible. The energy is, it's one of the coolest things that's come out of all of this for me is to feel that, wow, like you can't explain it until you feel it, right, Bob?
Yep.
Until you feel it, right, Allie, you just can't begin to describe it.
And the other thing is that, people don't remember necessarily what you say. They remember how you make them feel, how you made them feel. I think Maya Angelou said that. And that's the energy that you're talking about, because, and that is what I would say when you're sharing Isagenix. It's not about when you're sharing the erShred, it's not about sharing the logistics and the facts and the figures and the science, right? It's about connecting with them on an emotional level. It's not about sharing what it is, it's sharing why they would even want to do it. How are they struggling in their life right now? How is it impacting them in their life right now? How is that manifesting in their relationships, in their health, in their, in their happiness? And really sharing from the heart your testimonial, because it's your energy, your excitement that is going to make you magnetic to people, where people are going to just say, I want what he has. I want what she has. They don't even care what it is. They just know that they want what you have when you're excited and you're grounded and you're, and you have that certainty. It's that energy like you're talking about that just makes you feel like, ooh, I want that,
That's just it, Allie. And you know what, Allie, I used to think that could be faked, and then I would be confused why I wasn't good at it. And it's interesting because I couldn't fake it, and so I wasn't that good at it. And then when I finally realized that no, it has to be born of a real life, like it has to come from within. And once that's there, wow, that's the secret sauce. Well, we don't want to take people's time any longer, but I just wanted to tell you guys how much I love you, and I wanted to thank you both for all the time and energy and all the devotion that you've given to erShred, to this cause and this community and this culture, and you're such a special part of it. So just wanted to thank you guys. We love you
Thank
so much.
you guys.
Thank
Love
you.
you guys so much.
I'm gonna unmute this and just let everybody, I just want to let everybody tell you they love you and good night. 1 second here. Is there a way to, guys, go ahead and unmute and tell Bob and Allie how grateful we are for them if you'd like.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks, Allie.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great night.
Guys. Great.
Thank you.
Looking forward
Thank
to
you.
the
Very
future.
exciting.
All right, you guys, we're gonna
Thank
sign
you.
off. Hey guys, if you can get on tomorrow night's call, Jesse will do a call in the erShred group about the nutritional part of erShred. And then Wednesday night, we'll have our Come Alive call, same time. And that'll be Wednesday night. So hopefully you guys can all join us then. We'll look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks, everybody.
Very good.
Right.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.